8,
You're watching The
7,
Experience, Comic Culture, and
6,
Sales.
5,
Streaming live daily to
4,
Facebook, YouTube,
3,
Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
In honor of the passing of comedic legend Bob Newhart last week, I want to give you one of my favorite quotes from him. Bob said, "I don't like country music, but I don't mean to denigrate those who do. And for those people who like country music, denigrate means put down." I'm going to miss that guy. Stay tuned for the Dan Wickline Show. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. I hope you are having a good day and a good week. It has been a weird one. I don't talk much politics. I try to avoid it. But since Sunday, a lot of crazy things has happened. And I don't care what side you're on. Just mad respect for Joe Biden and his decision and the way he presents himself. So thank you, Joe, for your service. That's going to leave it at that. All right. We're going to jump into the news, and then we're going to talk about what things we might hear from Marvel and DC about their movies and TV at San Diego Con. So, by the way, hello to Triple B. Good to see you. But yeah, let's jump into the news. Of course, this is the big week with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine. They are looking at just insane numbers, 160, 170 million domestic, 360 worldwide. And I hope it doesn't. I think the box office needs it. Marvel needs it. And it's just, this great excitement. But sometimes it's hard to believe what Ryan Reynolds and everyone in the first Deadpool movie had to go through just to get the film made. They leaked the test footage. Whoever did that, we don't know. That was just the beginning of signs that Fox had zero faith in the film. Now, Reynolds told the New York Times recently, he said, "No part of me was thinking when Deadpool was finally greenlit that this would be a success. I even let go of getting paid to do the movie just to put it back on the screen." He said they wouldn't allow my co-writers, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, on the set. So they wouldn't pay them to be on the set. So he took the salary that he was getting and paid them to be on the set so they could form a de facto writer's room. Now, he says, "I think one of the great enemies of creativity is too much time and money. And that movie had neither time nor money. It really fostered focusing on character over spectacle, which is a little harder to execute in a comic book movie. I was just so invested in every micro detail of it, and I hadn't felt like that in a long time. I remembered wanting to feel that more, not just on Deadpool, but on everything." Now, Reese and Wernick are back with Zeb Wells and Sean Levy to do Deadpool and Wolverine. So, and the theater movie comes out today, tomorrow. It's tricky because, it really does hit tonight, but these are preview nights. So it's officially tomorrow, but yeah, it's today. By the way, it seems that getting Madonna's permission to include her song Like a Prayer in the upcoming movie took more than just a phone call. Now, the singer doesn't normally license out her songs at all. So it wasn't an easy task, but it turns out her son is a big fan of Deadpool. So she agreed to meet with Ryan Reynolds and director Sean Levy to see the scene that the song would be used in. Now, Levy described it as meeting royalty, while Reynolds called it one of the greatest thrills of his life. Reynolds went on to say that after seeing the scene, not only did she give permission, but she gave them a note. And he said it was a great note. My God, she watched it, and I'm not kidding. She was like, you need to do this, this, and this in this moment. And damn it, if she wasn't like spot on and right, Levy said. We literally went into a new recording session within 48 hours to do that exact note. She had only one note, and it was a great note, and it made the sequence better. Now, they didn't say what the note was, but it's impressive that she made such a big change to it. Switching on over for fans of Dave Bautista, former WWE wrestler turned actor, and he said for years he wanted to play Bane in Batman. And now that James Gunn, his collaborator on Guardians of the Galaxy, is in charge of the DCU, this could be his chance, except Bautista admits that he wants to join in the fun, but not in that role now. Now, he was out promoting the new film My Spy, The Eternal, and he said, for forever it was Bane. When I was younger, I wanted to play Bane. It was like a dream role for me. And I got to the point in my career where I just felt like I was too old to play Bane. I think it's the physicality of it. At this point in my career and in my life, I just wouldn't be able to do the character justice. He said, and then I saw somewhere online that someone posted something of me playing Lex Luthor, an older Lex Luthor. I kind of became obsessed with that idea. Obviously, they moved on from that idea. So at this point, I'm struggling to find my place in the DC universe. But I'd really be up for anything. Now, I don't know about you guys, but an older fighter, I think he'd make an incredible Ted Grant Wildcat, don't you? I could see him being the guy that trains other heroes and stuff. I think that would be very cool. By the way, hello to Ed and to Kenneth. Good to see you both. Kevin Feige is also out hitting the promotional circuit with Deadpool and Wolverine coming out this week. And, of course, he's going to be down in San Diego for the Comic-Con. But he was been doing in the trail, and he talked to Gizmodo about a few things, including an update on the next Spider-Man film. He said, Amy Pascal and I are working on it. We have writers who are going to be delivering us a draft relatively soon. Now, from there, it turned to topic of mutants and the success of X-Men 97. And with a lot of the characters from the previous X-Men movies popping up in the new Deadpool movie, they were asking what lineup that Marvel is expecting to use on the X-Men. He said, there are a lot of great X-Men characters in Deadpool and Wolverine. There are a lot of great X-Men characters from the Fox versions of the X-Men films, and there are a lot of great X-Men characters that have never gotten on the big screen. So I think as we try to do, as we did when we made the arrangements for with Sony and Spider-Man, you'll probably see a mix of characters you've seen before and characters you've never seen before. I think the success of X-Men 97 was really exciting for us to see people revisit and reconnect with the world. And dare I say, the soap opera elements of that world, which is one of the things that is exciting to us about jumping into it finally in the MCU. It says the recent trend of actors nominating themselves for roles is a little odd, but it seems to be the norm now. I'm not a big fan of that either. But if anybody's making a Valiant movie of Archer and Armstrong, I could totally play Armstrong. Just saying. Also, in those recent interviews, Feige talked about the Blade reboot. And while not giving us any new information, he made it clear that Marvel Studios is committed to making the film and making it right. He also acknowledged that this film needed to have an R rating. So while this is all good, we also have to acknowledge the fact that the initial announcement that Mahershala Ali was going to be playing Blade was 5 years ago this week. So they really need to make some announcements down to San Diego. about Blade. More Ryan Reynolds news. He wants to make one thing very clear. He says, I will say once and for all that the cameo thing with Taylor, because she's our friend, is not in the film. So if you're going this weekend to try to see if Taylor Swift is in Deadpool and Wolverine, she's not. Ryan says, I always do say that if anyone ever were to take over the role of Deadpool, Taylor would be a good choice. Because that's the superpower that I don't know that she shows everyone too often. She's one of the funniest people I've ever met. And we get an example of that in a minute. With the cancellation of the Arkham series, I don't know if you guys heard about that. Matt Reeves was originally making a Arkham spinoff from the Batman. Along with the Penguin. And then suddenly it shifted and it became part of the DCU proper. Well, whether it's part of the Batman or the DCU, it's dead. They're not doing the Arkham series. Done. But we're learning that Reeves and his co-producer Dylan Clark are looking for a different idea to spin off into its own series. Now, the first spin-off, The Penguin, is set to debut later this summer and will be set 1 week after the events of the Batman and is expected to lead right into the upcoming sequel. So it's going to be, there'll probably be some elements from The Penguin that go into the second Batman movie. With the success of the first film and what they've done with the spin-off series, Warner Brothers definitely wants more of that universe, since Arkham is a no-go and that sprung out of telling the story of the Gotham. Originally they were going to do a Gotham PD series, and that turned into Arkham. That leaves not that many options. The big one I can think of would be to do Selena Kyle and her trip up to Bloodhaven, so that they set up in the movie. But other than that, if they introduce a new character in the Penguin series, I don't know. But if you're wondering if this is just a blank rumor, this information actually comes from Dylan Clark himself, the executive producer on the Penguin, or on the Arkham series, and the Penguin. Let's see. Ed says, that sounds fantastic. I'm totally stoked for the Penguin now. I wonder if Batman or Bruce will make an appearance. I've been hearing rumors that he may pop up for a cameo near the end, but that's about it. I don't think he's going to make any serious appearances. Swifties are going to come back but they couldn't be lying to surprise us. Yeah, they absolutely could. And JD says, I'd really love to see a series of movies based on the Arkham games. Yeah, but that would be a different universe than what we've got now. So if you're a Transformers fan, a clip for the upcoming Transformers 1 was shown at San Diego Con today. And if you're wondering, well, why are we doing the origins of Megatron and Optimus Prime as an animated series instead of an actual live action? Producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventure actually answered that question. He said, if we did this as live action, it would probably cost $500 million. What has been tricky in live action is that every time a robot talks, it costs a lot of money. In animation, you can have them build out the characters. You can spend more time developing the stories and the characters. Now, this was said when around the same time they showed the clip. If you're curious what the clip showed, I guess this is back on Cybertron, and we get early looks at Orion Pax, who would eventually become Optimus Prime, and D16, who would later become Megatron. Now, voicing Prime, Optimus, will be Chris Hemsworth, and Brian Tyree Henry will be doing Megatron. And they're at the equivalent of the Olympic Games on Cybertron, but they're not allowed to join because they're minors, not minors like young, minors and getting ore. But somehow Prime, Orion Pax, ends up in the race. We also get a look at Sentinel Prime, who will be voiced by John Hamm, and we get a look at a character named Alita, who is voiced by Scarlett Johansson. So they've really pulled out a lot of big names for this movie, but it's animated. So, but hey, my favorite Transformers movie is the original animated one. So, did someone put his name in the Goblet of Fire? Exactly. Yeah, but it's more of a piston of fire. Animated Arkham games, maybe. Yeah, an animated Arkham series would be really cool. Now, you guys know that Lady Gaga will be playing Harley Quinn in the upcoming Todd Phillips film Joker Folie à Deux. Not even sure how to pronounce that. My French is horrible. Now, the filmmaker explained that her version of the villain is different from previous iterations. He said, while there are some things that people will find familiar in her, it's really Gaga's own interpretation and Scott Silver, the co-writer, and I's interpretation. She became the way how Charlie Manson had girls that idolized him, the way that sometimes these imprisoned murderers have people that look up to them. There are things about Harley in the movie that were taken from the comic books, but we took it and molded it to the way we wanted it to be. So, let's see. The Joker trailer was strange. Yes, it was. Yeah, that's going to be strange. So earlier I mentioned Taylor Swift's sense of humor. Taylor Swift went out and posted on her social media about the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine movie, trying to urge her fans to go see it. And what she wrote was it was a picture of her and Ryan and Hugh and a couple other people. I believe Blake was in the picture. I don't have it right here. It said, over the past few years, I have watched one of my best friends on this planet pour every bit of his heart, soul, sweat, time, energy, jokes, pain, joy, rebellion, darkness, and magic into this film. He created the best work of his life, and this film feels like an actual joy portal, a wild escape from reality, and an abs sandwich. I don't know how he did it, but that's just Hugh for you. See, her and Ryan Reynolds are the really good friends and stuff. So for her to turn it and say that she was saying all that about Hugh is kind of funny when you know that. She then added, shout out to Wade Wilson, a.k.a. my God kid's sperm donor. So, yeah, she definitely got the memo on how to promote the film by picking on Ryan. So I do like that post. I think that's very, very clever. Speaking of photos, Pedro Pascal shared a cast photo of the upcoming Fantastic Four. He did a selfie with Vanessa Kirby, Eben Mock, Bacharach, and Joseph Quinn. And there was also a photo he posted of Matt Shackman. And underneath both of them, they were in the same post, he wrote, our first mission. Now, you can't really tell where they are or what it is they're doing. And filming is said to start on Monday. So maybe they were just doing a table read, or maybe they were just hanging out together somewhere in Southern California so that maybe they could swing by some kind of little convention on Saturday. Maybe. Just saying. All right. And the final story is about an octogenarian who has decided it's time to pass the torch and live out his days focused on his family. That, of course, would be former James Bond star George Lazenby, who announced that he is retiring from acting and public appearances. He's 84 years old. Lazenby took on the role of Bond in the 1969 film On Her Majesty's Secret Service when Sean Connery wasn't available. I think it was a contract dispute. And then after Lazenby played the role, he was suddenly available again. Now, by the way, if you read the original Ian Fleming novels, Lazenby is probably the guy who looked the most like the character that Fleming was writing about. He's the most Bond-looking character. And if you don't know much about him, there is a great documentary on Hulu about his time as 007 called Becoming Bond. And it came out in 2017, but it's a good fun watch if you're looking to have something on the background. You know, I do recommend it. JD says there's a convention this weekend. I've heard rumors, it's a GalaxyCon in North Carolina. I know Ben Templesmith is going. My friend Irene's going. It's going to be great. Oh, and then there's something going on in San Diego, but I don't know much about that. All right. So that is the news. We're going to take a break, come back, and I will give you my ideas on what we might be hearing from Marvel and DC this weekend at the Comic-Con. So we'll be right back.
Twitch, it's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
Whoa. Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome. It's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So
It's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of the experience. You love comic books. You collect comic books. But even if you own a rare, expensive issue, it's still a copy. How would you like to own a piece of comic book history? The actual art pages the comics were made from? Oh no, you say. That's too expensive. Regular people can't afford that stuff. Can they? Nick Barucci says yes. Join the founder of Dynamite Entertainment for the original art experience on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Incredible art at almost unbelievable prices. Does he have some high-dollar pieces for the high rollers? Sure, but Nick always makes sure to find amazing pieces priced for the fledgling collector. You can collect original comic art. The original art experience. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Part of the experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. We are going to be talking about San Diego Comic-Con. And remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons and stick around today. We got What's in the Box and Sketch Up tonight. But one thing I'd like to talk about, and you guys who follow me on social media have probably seen me posting about it like crazy, and that would be the second volume of Karma. This, of course, is the first volume. It is currently on Comictopia, or Backer Kit. Comictopia is this interesting conglomeration of 28 different publishers / creators putting books on at the same time and kind of cross-promoting each other. And I am fascinated by that because I love the idea. I did a live stream on it, and Fabrice Sapolsky from Fair Square Comics hopped into the channel, the comments. Also, Sarah from a book called Granica was there. We're going to try to set it up again, do another live stream next week. This time we want to invite them and a couple other creators to actually be part of the live stream. But yeah, that's the backer kit for the original graphic novel. Thank you, JD. Currently, we're about halfway to goal. They set a big goal this time. So now the first book did 57,000 on Kickstarter, but don't know how it's going to do on backer kit. We're about a week in and we're at $10,000. We need to maybe double that, but I have a good feeling we're going to get there. But the interesting thing right now is being part of the Comictopia thing, you're kind of keeping track of everybody else. And there is a thing on the Comictopia front page. Everybody has their own page, and then they have the Comictopia landing spot. And one of the things on there is this trending projects thing, and it's based on the number of backers. And right now we have 242 backers. Directly in front of us, at 245 backers, is Steve frickin' Rude. Steve the Dude Rude. This is a collection of Nexus books. Steve is awesome. I love Steve's artwork. I've heard some very funny stories about Steve that I'm not going to share. But the idea that we're close to him, and it just blows my mind. And I love the idea that maybe if we get 3 or 4 people to hop in, we'll move up to that 5th slot and right in front of Steve. That just blows my mind, like I said. There's some other great books on there. There's a Zenoscope. Zenoscope has a Cinderella omnibus. Cinderella is kind of their Harley, or kind of a cross between Harley Quinn and Deadpool. Pretty crazy character. There's a book on there called The Unfamiliars, which is just blowing everybody away. They have the most followers at 376. There's another adult-themed one called Kinky Carrot that's on there that's doing really well. But yeah, so we're moving along, and we're trying to get to our goal. But we are just 3 people away from tying Steve Rude, and that just blows my mind. Like I said, did not expect that. So if you haven't checked it out, I would appreciate it. If you've read the first book, it continues the story. It picks it up pretty much right after. And it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's still based on some of my days as a photographer. And if you're following me on social media, any of the social medias, I am posting a lot of images from my photography days. So I'm posting a couple pictures with different models with a model each day as this campaign goes. And trust me, I have more models I can choose from than days in this campaign. So we won't be running out. All right, let's get to San Diego and what's coming up. And I think Ed will be liking at least where we start, because we're going to focus on the Batman first. But, you know, with the fact that Comic-Con has begun, preview night was last night, and while there were a ton of announcements from various publishers and studios, the big news is expected to come from Hall H, of course, Marvel Studios and DC. Now, Marvel has multiple big panels. They have one for Deadpool and Wolverine today. They have the big one with Kevin Feige on Saturday. DC doesn't really have a big panel to make announcements, but they have a panel for the Penguin. They have one for the Harley Quinn animated series and Kite Man series. They have one for the upcoming Batman the Caped Crusader animated series, and Matt Reeves is expected to be there and probably have the Penguin one as well. So they have a couple vehicles where they could make some announcements. And that's what the latest rumor is, that DC will make some. But the thing is that DC is very different than Marvel, where Marvel is everything's tied together. DC, there's going to be a lot of stuff tied together. Creature Commandos is tied to Superman, is tied to Peacemaker, is tied to Waller. But then there is this area that exists outside, and one of them is the Batman. The Joker movie, Todd Phillips' Joker, is another one. Harley Quinn animated series is also outside. So it's not as strict as Marvel that, you know, it's all the same. Well, it's not all connected here. So we're going to focus on the outside of DC main continuity. Then we'll talk about inside, and then we'll do Marvel. So of course, the big panel is going to be the Penguin, but they've got more than just a panel. They have a bunch of things going on. They're going to have a Gotham ice truck in the Gaslamp district. I mean, they've got some really cool events around the Penguin. So to me, that is awesome. But the series itself is going to debut on September 8th. It's a direct spinoff of the 2022 film. And it's Colin Farrell reprising his role as Oswald Cobblepot. But it also brings in some new people like Kristen Milotti, Renzi Felice, Shohreh Aghdashloo, and Clancy Brown. And by the way, if you tell me Clancy Brown is in a series, I know the series just got better. JD says he didn't think about it, but they picked this weekend. Of course they picked this weekend to release Deadpool and Wolverine. Exactly what they did. So now the Penguin series is kind of the Sopranos in Gotham. It takes place, it kind of focuses on what happened at the end of the film. Carmine Falcone gets killed, causing a power vacuum in the crime families in Gotham. But Gotham is also flooded by the Riddler. So this whole thing is set up by the actions of the one madman. Now, Penguin, or Oswald, is trying to make a move to take over the families, take over the city. But Falcone's family still wants it. There's other people trying to move up that look at Oswald as just a low-level enforcer guy. So it's kind of an interesting play here. And we're going to watch it from, so like I said, it's kind of like watching Tony Soprano in Gotham City. Now, from there, it's going to lead right back into the next Batman movie. So Penguin takes place a week after of the Batman, and then Batman 2 should take place right after the Penguin. So they are very closely put together. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a character that has not been announced yet that ends up being a big part of the series that becomes the villain for number 2. They could introduce a prosecutor that's going after somebody named Harvey Dent. There's a lot of things they could do. Ed says, I remember when Marvel used to release their movies on the weekends of Free Comic Book Day in May, and they would be going back to that too. That was always fun take. Sounded like a good time, Eddie. Yeah, so they're going to be going back to that. I believe they have a movie scheduled for May of next year. But so, excuse me, I kind of lost my place. But so I wouldn't expect any major announcements there. But again, there's rumors. So could we find out who the villain is going to be for Batman 2? Could we find out? We know that the movie got moved from October of 2025 to October of 2026, and that they were still working everything out. And this allowed Matt Reeves to focus on the Penguin. So will we find out? Now, I would expect them to show part, if not all, of an episode during the panel. There's probably going to be chats with the cast. But if we do get any news out of that panel, I'm fairly sure it will be focused on the Matt Reeves universe. I don't see them using that to announce anything other than that, unless they try to sneak in like maybe a teaser for the Joker movie. But speaking of the Joker movie, Joker Folie à Deux, this has no panels planned. Doesn't have anything currently scheduled. But the film is ready. It will be released on October 4th, 2024. So I'm kind of surprised they don't have anything going on. Now, maybe they'll have something at the booth or whatever, but there's no panels for it. This, of course, brings back Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck and Zazie Beetz as Sophie. And then we get Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. But also it has Catherine Keener, Brandon Gleeson, Steve Coogan, and Ken Leung and none of them have been given named roles yet. They haven't said who they're playing. I don't think any big announcements coming about the film, because I think most of what we know about it is all we're going to get. But yeah, so I do expect them to show a teaser at some point. JD says, any news on whether Richard Kind has decided to sue for unauthorized use of his likeness? I've used that joke before. It is a good joke, but yeah. Let's see. We're getting some daughter talk there. It was at Triple B Haunted Basement now. My baby girl is almost 20 and studying abroad in Japan. She was just 5 years old yesterday, I swear. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. So, there's a panel set for the animated Harley Quinn series and its spinoff, Kite Man. Hell yeah. Now, I would expect to see some footage from Kite Man, but the series has already been released, the first episode on Max. So I would expect this more to focus maybe on the Harley Quinn, having the voice actors, and maybe a teaser and a release date for the fifth season of that, which is expected later this year. Moving into the main DCU, where James Gunn is working on multiple projects at once. He's overseeing the Creature Commandos, which will be the first big project which gets released later this year. So I would totally expect to see footage from that. If there's at a panel, they can do this. But again, they don't have a panel for this. Now, Gunn has let it be known that they're just about done filming on Superman. The last word was that they were on the final couple days, and they were down to just 2 cast members left. So that should be racked up, though there was an incident that shut everything down yesterday when one of the crew members was found to have committed suicide in her car. We don't know anything more about that. There is no foul play expected, but she was found on the set in her car having killed herself. They shut down production. They brought counselors in for anybody who needed them, and they're back up and running. But yeah, so that just happened. The Superman set is on the same lot next door to the Peacemaker set, where they're filming Peacemaker 2. So James Gunn is just kind of running back and forth. I originally thought that maybe Gunn would pop up at San Diego after all, but with the fact that he's kind of settled in at Atlanta thing, and he's got the other project going too, I'm thinking he won't. Maybe he'll pop in, but again, they don't have a scheduled panel. So we'll have to see. Maybe they're going to pop up in a Warner Brothers panel, but there is rumor that something will be announced. We'll see. I would also not be surprised if they tried to steal the thunder of San Diego and announce it elsewhere, like on YouTube or Deadline or something like that. So, but if they are going to make any kind of announcements, they really need, well, one thing I'd like to see, I'd love to see just a couple minutes of footage of David Corenswet in the suit being Superman, but I don't want some big heroic moment. I want the getting the cat out of the tree moment. I want the wholesome Superman that everybody has been crying for a long time now. That's what I'm hoping, that will get us a clip or a scene of just him doing something very Superman-like. Not overly heroic, just something genuinely good. That's what I think they need. But I also think we really need to get updates on other projects like Waller and Paradise Lost and Lanterns. Like announcing who's going to be Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart would be great. Updates on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Batman the Brave and the Bold, Swamp Thing, and The Authority. These were all announced in January of 2023. And other than Supergirl, finding out the Supergirl movie had a script and Millie Alcock was going to be the actress, we haven't really heard anything else. So I think it's time for them to actually kind of put some more information out there. So this would be a great time. But again, they don't have a panel. So they definitely need to spend some time letting this stuff, getting an update on it. Ed says, do you know if they're starting with the origin of Superman again? No. Gunn has said very clearly this is not an origin story. Just like with the Batman. This is later. This is a few years into his career. And I agree. I think Marvel did that great with Spider-Man. We never got the Uncle Ben dying scene. With Robert Pattinson, we never saw his parents being murdered. And with Superman, we're not going to get that either. We're not going to watch Krypton blow up. There's some characters that we have seen enough of, we don't need their origin again. And you're not the only one who said that. I know multiple people who immediately went, oh, they're not doing the origin again, are they? Everybody knows Batman's origin, Superman's origin, and Spider-Man's origin. Now, what I don't want them to do is I don't want them to announce a bunch of new projects. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about stuff like, oh, there's going to be a Booster Gold film, and there's going to be this or that. Or I don't want that because we haven't moved far enough along with the other projects yet. Let's get that going, and then we can talk phase 2 or chapter 2 of Gods and Monsters. Let's get chapter 1 out there. Then, you can pull the Kevin Feige and show up with a giant banner showing the next 27 years of production. Speaking of Feige, let's move over to Marvel. Now, Marvel Studios has the 2 panels. Now, the first one is happening today. And again, it celebrates Deadpool and Wolverine. So I think they're probably going to show some scenes. They'll have the actors, stuff like that. But I can't see them doing any kind of future stuff unless there is something set up in the Deadpool movie that specifically talks about Deadpool or Wolverine or the X-Men and stuff moving into the MCU. If there's like a lead to the next project, if there's another project that connects it, like, oh, we're going to do one Marvel, or we're going to do one X-Men movie or Fox-based movie that'll lead us into Secret Wars or whatever, then I could see them doing it. But otherwise, no, I think all of that will happen at the big panel. Big panel, that's going to be Saturday at 6 p.m. And this is where I would expect to see a ton of news. We know that both What If Season 3 and Eyes of Wakanda are moving along, and I would be stunned not to get teasers of both. At least one. I know Eyes of Wakanda is what people are talking a lot about. What If Season 3, probably a little bit further, but Eyes of Wakanda might actually come out at the end of this year. So I could definitely see them showing us some footage. And since it's been a while since Wakanda Forever, this would be good. They're definitely going to hype Agatha all along. It's the next big thing from the studio starting in September. And there's not another movie after Deadpool until February with Captain America Brave New World. And that's a long time again. Now, I think they'll definitely tease more of Captain America Brave New World. Maybe instead of a teaser trailer, we get an actual scene. You remember the opening scene of Falcon and Winter Soldier with the flying stuff? I think a big action scene to get people excited would be good, especially if it's early on. They could also tell us who Giancarlo Esposito is playing. I know a lot of people thought he's playing G.W. Bridge, but there's some question about that now. Esposito has come out and said nobody had guessed who he's playing. Ed says, if I haven't seen What If Season 2 yet, was it as good as the first? Yes. It's on par there. It's definitely a strong continuation. There's a few things that continue over, other things that are new. I really loved the Ant-Man story. So yeah, it's well worth checking out. So other things I expect to see would be I expect to see something from Thunderbolts, whether it's a clip, a scene, a trailer, something, because they've moved far enough along that there should be footage. Maybe they'll let us know what the asterisk in the title stands for. Right now, I'm betting that it's probably going to be something as simple as they add on Thunderbolts versus Sentry or something like that. I don't think it's going to be, they're going to, oh, it's the Dark Avengers, but maybe they do that Thunderbolts parentheses Dark Avengers. I don't know. But there's an asterisk there that they've got to explain. Plus, I think it would be great for them to show off Sentry, which is their version of Superman. Get people used to the idea that there is a Marvel character like that. Ironheart should be finished, or at least close enough that they could put a trailer, but we still have no idea of a date for Ironheart. So I definitely think that they'll get that together. Maybe we'll get a teaser for that, unless the plan is to keep it shelved until they get to Armor Wars. Like, they'll put it out right before Armor Wars, which I can understand, but we don't know when Armor Wars is coming. Now, one of the things I thought is that they were going to focus on the movies here and save TV announcements for D23 in August. And a lot of people thought that, but again, new rumors are saying that they are going to talk some TV stuff here. So if they do, I would expect to see footage from Daredevil Born Again. Maybe a teaser for Wonder Man, because they've been filming that. But again, I think most of that is going to be at D23. I think they'll talk Agatha, they'll talk Daredevil. The rest of this TV stuff will probably be saved for D23, but should get a little bit. Now, the things I think we'll get pertaining to the upcoming film projects is, I think we're going to meet the Fantastic Four cast. They'll come on stage along with Matt Shakman. I could also see them building up buzz by saying who the rest of the actors are playing. We have a lot of people who've been cast in the film in undisclosed roles, like John Malkovich. I mean, we have our Galactus, we have our Shia LaBeouf as Silver Surfer. Do we have a regular Silver Surfer or Norman Rad Silver Surfer? John Malkovich, who the hell is he playing? My guess is Puppet Master. You've got a couple other characters. You've got, I don't remember his name, something Hauser, but Paul Hauser Cole or something, whatever his name is. I think he would make a good Mole Man. And I've been thinking that what they're going to do is they're going to show us kind of a history of the Fantastic Four more than just a single story. So having multiple villains would make a lot of sense. So, yeah, I think we're going to get a lot on Fantastic Four, especially since it's supposed to start filming Monday. Marvel desperately needs to get Avengers back on track. And if the latest rumors are true, they're going to get the Russo brothers coming back to direct the two films. Originally, they were talking Sean Levy, but now it seems to be they're talking the Russo brothers. Also, they're supposed to have found a new actor to play Kang, taking over for Jonathan Majors. And I think they need to make that announcement this weekend. They need to tell us what Avengers 5 is going to be called. Is it going to be Kang Dynasty? Is it going to have a new name? I think they should keep the Kang Dynasty name and stick to their original plans, but we'll have to see. There's been so many changes that they look uncertain. They look shaky, and they need to come out and just put this stuff in stone so that the fans can get back to looking forward to things and believing in things. And the same goes for Blade. This has been bounced around so much that it's becoming a joke. I think it's on the third director, and I think I'm the next guy on the list, and the guy behind me died last week. That's how bad they've gotten on the director. So they really need to get the director thing worked out, the writers, and they need to make sure they don't lose Mahershala Ali. Because if they lose him, they're done. They should just stop. And it's not because I don't think anybody else could play Blade, but I think at that point, it just becomes a joke. Now, what's left of Phase 5, the original Phase 5, was Ironheart, Blade, Daredevil, Born Again, Captain America, Brave New World, and Thunderbolts. And I think they'll give us information on all of those. Oh, and I think Agatha was part of it too. But and then that's Phase 5. Then we have to look at, say, Phase 6. And all we had for Phase 6 was Fantastic Four and the 2 Avengers movies. Now, the dates have moved on all that stuff, but there appears to be 8 open slots on any Dynamite news coming. There's a ton of Dynamite news coming. I don't have any of it, but I know there's a big announcement coming tomorrow, a real big announcement during their 80th panel. So you'll want to check that out. They just sent out some embargoed stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. But yeah, it's some big stuff. So some very fan favorite older cartoon characters and stuff. So look forward to that tomorrow. Plus, we found out Gail Simone's going to be writing James Bond. I love that. Now, so Phase 6, what are we going to get? There's those 8 open slots. Now, they've been talking about Wonder Man, and it's supposed to be in production. So that's going to be one of them. But things that they should get to a Shang-Chi sequel. It's been way too long, way overdue. And Destin Daniel Cretton left Avengers to focus on the stuff he's doing. Well, the stuff he's doing is Wonder Man and another Shang-Chi movie. I would have said a second Eternals movie, but Feige has come out and said, nope, there's no second Eternals movie. But Tiamat is appearing in Brave New World, so I don't see them tapping into the Fox characters yet. That'll probably be Phase 7. Like, people seem to be thinking it's going to be called the Mutant Saga, but that'll definitely be Phase 7. We should be getting a new Spider-Man movie. Like I said, they're expecting a script soon. I definitely think we're going to have to get another Doctor Strange movie in Phase 6. I would also like to see a second season of Moon Knight. That would make a lot of sense. There's been a talk about finally resolving what happened to the Vision, and I could see that making the list too. And of course, there's talk about Armor Wars as a movie, but I have a feeling that'll be bigger than just a War Machine film. I think that'll end up being something more than just Armor Wars. That'll bring in other characters. A few of the popular picks are like the Nova series, which is said to be in the works, but everybody who's talking about it says it's a ways off. A lot of people want to see a Hulk movie, but I don't think they've gotten the rights with Universal worked out for that. I think there has to be another movie. So could we see a Wolverine versus Hulk movie? That's a possibility, because it turns out it's a Wolverine movie. Maybe you give it a different name, but so that's a possibility. Plus, Jackman's kind of let it be known that maybe he's not completely done. That would be a fun one to come back for. Also, people are talking about a 5th Thor movie, but I think that really needs to have a little time. I could definitely see another Black Panther movie coming up where the young T'Challa takes over and setting up an appearance in Secret Wars, but those are the likely candidates. Other popular suggestions are like Midnight Suns, Young Avengers, and while I think those are likely in the future, I don't see them happening in Phase 6. I think Marvel has some threads that have to be resolved, like the Eternals, Celestials, and the Incursions. They're opening up the door for the Fantastic Four and the X-Men to join in during Secret Wars, but I'm hard-pressed to figure out a character or team that really needs to be introduced before the end of Phase 6, unless they are doing a Doctor Doom movie on his own. Now, I'm sure they'll fill in the details with Disney Plus series. We'll have connectors like that, but I can't see anybody who needs to get their own film right now. It does feel like the Guardians are wrapped up. And then so what's going to happen to the cosmic quarter of the universe? Because we do, like I said, have the Celestials and the Eternals still out there. We need to wrap that up. I don't know. Maybe that's will be the role of the Fantastic Four in the future. Or maybe we will get a new Guardians team. So now I'd put my money on Shang-Chi 2, sooner rather than later, another Spider-Man movie, and the spot between the two Avengers movie will be Doctor Strange 3, and he'll be dealing with the incursions that'll set up Secret Wars. Oh, and I like I said, I totally expect all the dates to be pushed back from that initial trailer. So those are my thoughts on that. It says, do you ever watch Hot Ones? Yes. Where they do an interview with celebrities. They dropped an episode with Hugh and Ryan today, and they're hilarious. I knew that was coming. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm going to. So, yeah, I love the two of them together. So this would be a good time to picture a Jack of Hearts show. Yeah, I still think it would be a good, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to finish writing that up and get it over to Kevin. So, all right, guys. Wow, that took up the whole show. I didn't even have time for a late break, which is fine because nobody cares about the commercials, right? JD's going, nah. All right, so yeah, we're going to wrap it up there. If you're interested in the San Diego Con news, I will try to put together as much of it as possible and do it Sunday night on Pop Go the Writers. Jim is not available, so it'll just be me. Also, please check out Karma. If you haven't, please do so. And we'll be doing another live stream from Karma as well next week. And that's about it, folks. Thank you for tuning in. I would love a Vampirella movie. So would Nick Barucci. Hope you all have a great weekend. I hope there's great fun news coming out of San Diego. And we will see you all next week. Have a good one.
Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it.